So I was hoping to just take like a sensory deprivation and tank bath, but I'm pretty sure your voice will. I'm like so full of peace now and like joy, and thank you so much for sharing your work with us. Yeah, I don't want to do anything ever again, so sleep.
Well, our third reader tonight, like we mentioned earlier, is a veteran ice cream socialist, socialite, social person. And we're super excited to have her back. And without further ado, I'll introduce her. Maggie Ilersich is a poet from Northeast Ohio. She graduated from George Washington University, where she was awarded the Hassan Hussein Prize for Best Thesis in English and Creative Writing, and the Vivian Nellis Memorial Prize for Special Promise in Creative Writing. She was a Landon Fellow at the Folger Shakespeare Library from 2012 to 2013. She is a second year in Texas State's poetry program and is wholly undiscerning when it comes to ice cream flavors.
Hey, they say you should do something every day that scares you, and that's why I asked Autumn to read, because she is the first poem, actually, I had the opportunity to read of Autumn's. It's the first one she read tonight. And it was like an immediate well in me, just like she's a huge role model of mine, and it's an honor to read with Kate, whom I love. So I'm really happy to be here tonight. Thank you. Perfume. When a man kisses my wrists, I imagine it has something to do with how jasmine is always out of season, how it doesn't even grow here, where the pier expands with winter and wax. Complaining about aldehyde and ylang, I spritz lightly at first, become greedy, his mouth now at my neck, all that vetiver muddling the bass notes. We aren't together anyway. We stand at odd angles near the coffee table. He holds a gallon of milk, as if to say there is something to celebrate. If only these rosewood coasters were large enough for him to unburden himself. But no, he must handle the milk. Drought lawn. Nor does standing next to mammoth blue agave make me small. At the barbecue, I smile. Repeat, I am not dead, I'm at a party. The guests are riotous and also alive. A cat stalks about the pebbles, lips will not stay red. Someone laughs, a phone into my hands. I look at myself in these pictures and think, bad, bodied cunt, and how stupid to mistake that plant for aloe. It's summer. I finished a coffee table, made a mobile from chopsticks and a cereal box. I know boredom is boring, weedy and coarse. Broom sedge waves about my legs. Beer puts careful edges on my tongue. There are no robins, there is no love. Only if you hold anything for long enough, you'll grow to cherish it. Walking home, I press my purse against my torso. Squelching sound. Stomach, is that you? A small leak of light, a carpet of shimmering bats. Okay. All of these poems, I guess except the first one, are pretty sad, and I think a lot of why will sort of get filled in as we go forward together. But all of this to say, I do feel especially lucky to be here tonight, and with Anar and Chandra and Kate and Autumn and all of you. So thank you for being here and thank you for having me. Okay. So I took a semester off from school, and that took me far away from a lot of people I love, and from myself in a lot of ways. And so this poem is an apology letter to one of the people I really missed. At this distance, I don't know what mouths are for, or why we can't move past the panic is not the point. In the junk drawer, I look for a pencil, but a good one. I kiss the door frame and lean against. Hope you feel it on your own head every night I missed you and was sorry. I saw a goose dead on the highway, wing flap white down in red, no good enough red. I wanted to touch, to see you again. Think of you always, a hand on the flat and unflat parts of my stomach, on which I depended too heavily, and your hair and the television. Lately, we are never awake at the same time, but evenings I drive slow and brake as you would, for deer or wavering lines of waterfowl who stand, who walk so near the road as if pavement has always been circling through town. I want to hold you in my normal head with my normal body, and these little fictions keep the day going. Because the brain was undependable, you could not shake me awake. Heart trip and punch drunk, wanting traffic rush to step into it alone, always its own temptation. The way a goose could fly over a street, but chooses instead to waddle and graze, lower and raise its bright white cheek. Or how I spent hours reading about lobotomies, disastrous lobotomies. And it was hard to tell what would hurt you more, that kind of leaving or how I stayed. I wished I were a better woman. Even now, I want neither of us to feel guilt about who gets to live and how I may have closed myself off to your sorrow and felt greedy for your joy. All the same, it snows here in April sometimes. One could be photographing ironwork outside Westinghouse Electric, or in the 5th inning of the home opener, and a blizzard turns the sky over. I am sure you have never seen this, though we both know a violent wave on a breaker, though we both cannot imagine the other there. But I cycle back to you in a striped sweater, down lights on your shoulder, and know that is love. That before the evenings you could not wake me, there was love there too. I cannot answer to future love like years from now, waiting for a baby. I hope it comes already hungry, already able to speak, mouthing something like please, and the neck of the goose still thin, long and beautiful, only like its wings, the rest of it flat. I'm going to read, like Kate, I really don't read essays, I don't read prose, even though I write it, and it's like very private and vulnerable, and so this piece is still very much in progress. It's about a time in my life I don't remember well, and so I have this anxiety that it's not faithful, but I've shared it with a few people who were there and who knew me then, and they assured me it is, so I feel honest reading it now. The title is called I'm an Animal, You're an Animal Too, and that comes from a song by Nico Case called Animal, and it's from her 2009 album, Middle Cyclone, if you want to know what was formative to me, like almost 10 years ago. Probably not, right? I'm an animal, you're an animal too. A week before they put the dog down, my sister Claire sent me a text. Pup can't get up, no crying, very calm. He keeps putting his head down, then up. And later, we pulled his bed into the sunroom. We put some socks near him. My dad and sister consulted with my mom, a hospice nurse, made an appointment for the dog. When Puppy died, my boyfriend was driving a U-Haul through Austin. We were picking up a used couch for my apartment. The couch, a blue and white gingham, was dingier than the photos I'd seen, but I took it anyway, and watched my boyfriend and a stranger heave it down 4 flights of stairs. There is value in the thing itself, I thought, and walking away with something. My dad spent the morning digging a hole. Claire carved our names for the dog into his favorite bench. I cried up and down I-35. From the present, I will tell you, it's a strange feeling when your childhood dog is dead, and you are more concerned with him being dead than your own desire to join him. It wasn't because of the dog. I was getting sicker and sicker. Still, my doctors told me to wait, and so I waited, all of us trusting that medicine made a body better. I left green bottles of mineral water around my apartment and watched avocados brown. I can't remember exactly when, but there was a moment when something shifted and I realized the waiting was pointless. I didn't care if I ever got better. I could die in my bed, I would think. I could die walking to work. These were just facts. I struggle to describe this lack of care. I'm not sure there's a word for it, and so I am reduced to figurative language. Is it nothing? an empty vessel where care should be and might one day return, or is it something else, something in itself? A dog may make care tangible. For example, no matter how long I'd been away, the dog was riotous when I came home. All dogs are like this, I think. They suffer our absences and so perceive our presence, our existence, as a gift. I was always happy to exist for the dog, even when I was unhappy. And after he died, I kept wondering if our returns felt like resurrections to him. We fell indefinitely out of his sphere and re-entered with the same love for him. We had the same bodies, the same deep smells, but on top of those bodies and smells, cosmetic shifts, new fragrance. Our going and returning provided him small pieces of the world, such that he might have observed birth after birth, when I got a haircut, or when Dad and I unpacked groceries from the store. And isn't this a common desire, to always be new, to be built and then built again? 2 months after the dog died, I hyperventilated on the floor of a public bathroom, and that was not the first time in my life. I retched. I wanted a private pain. There were just 10 minutes until class resumed. Before the break, I kept thinking, I'll never stop crying. I will never stop needing to cry. 5 things, I reminded myself. You just need to think of 5 things. In this case, my 5 things were, I'm on the floor is cold, I can breathe, my name's Margaret Ann, and there is toilet paper to my left. The rational part of me approached my overwrought self with arms up as if to say, we both know I'm not a threat to you, we both know who wins at this end, but I just need right now, just please give me right now. I filled and unfilled my lungs, my breath hot, I stepped out of the stall, rinsed my face, my eyes were bright pink, there was nothing else to do. I left the bathroom and walked back to class. When I stepped into the room, my professor asked me to step out again. We walked a few paces down the hall toward her office, and then there was no breath again. Nothing, just nothing. She held my swollen face in her hands. Do you know that I am with you? Please know I am right here. And we are both tall, and so we were just faces to each other, or she a face to me, a singular point of focus. I was moving shallow and quick. I was choking. My arms were numb. But she was so calm. I could see her right outside of me. Here's what was happening. A standard, I've never talked about this publicly. A standard, well-tolerated antidepressant was reacting very poorly with my body. I presented the following symptoms: heart palpitations, drowsiness, severe depression, rage, acute panic, suicidal ideation, tendency to self-harm. Alone and angry, I slammed a door so hard the frame pulled from the wall. I held matches to the bottom of my foot. I ran home from school without shoes on. I made an effort to bring a little feeling back into my body, and what is as easily accessible as pain. I was experiencing serotonin syndrome. Necessary for brain processing, the happy-making serotonin is a neurotransmitter that regulates signals in the central nervous system. These neurotransmitters reached toxic levels within my brain, which led to excess nerve activity, which led to my body shutting down. All of this was beyond my control, but I was so ashamed. Even writing this now, I feel a sense of indignity and distance. I feel that I am showing too much, and do I trust you? Beyond this, I'm not sure I'm doing important work, examining my body in the world. What can it mean to anyone but me? My professor, and I'm going to butcher Spanish, which is like the most beautiful language in the world. My professor had my loteria cards. We sat in the dining room, and she appraised the 3 I turned. Past, las Hares, the arrows tied in a bow. Present, El Valiente, the hero. Future, El Camarito, the pitcher. She appraised my present card, the man with his hat on the ground, a brawling stance, muscles, blood on his knife. It concerned her, This sort of self-protection affects what enters the vessel of your future. You might fill your vessel with the wrong things or leave it otherwise dry. Be wary. She and I judged this man the same, a cautionary tale. He was the depressed brain, the anxious brain, the noxious fumes of selfhood going rancid. Is this me now? A traditional reading of this card, though, rests in the question, why are you running like a coward when you have such a good dagger? In other words, do not be afraid. You have what you need. But I didn't know that then, and I'm not sure I could have. Rick Barrett's poem, Reading Plato, begins with the lines, I think about the mornings that saved me, to look at hearts penknifed on the windows of the bus. This opening line works with both the title on reading and what follows, that a single detail may build toward exquisite tumult of both inner and outer worlds, consciousness, public, transport. It reminds me that there are people and the traces they leave behind, and then there I am too. I read and I write to look at the world. I have been saved by a construction site, the building of a hotel near my undergraduate apartment in spring. Specifically, I loved the way the halogens hummed on the concrete wires at night. I could commit myself to that construction. The need to see it and see it again. Shades of purple, shades of blue, and the lilacs bringing fresh density to the air. The way the child Bernard in Virginia Woolf's The Waves says of Susan, when we sit together close, we melt into each other with phrases. We are edged with mist. We make an unsubstantial territory. Means something so specific to me I cannot find it in good words. But it's like petting a small domesticated animal, or how green and pendulous the pine cones. To tell about it, I hope, means I am building something, resurrecting a life from loss. Last section. My first night with the new couch, I slept on it. I didn't mean to. I was watching Sabrina the Teenage Witch on my laptop with all the lights off. I lit candles around the living room. I took a photo of the candlelight moving through a glass vase filled with pale pink hydrangeas and sent it to my boyfriend. I was proud. I wrapped myself in so many blankets. When I woke, my eyes were sticky from my contacts, the candles had all burned out, my computer was dead. And my dog was dead, still. Who knows me awake? Who put his warm face in my hands, my dog who recognized me? Claire placed Pup on a lilac sheet. She put flowers from Giant Eagle, which is a grocery store in Ohio. It has its own pierogi section. And flowers from the yard around his body. A chain of honeysuckle, a halo of black irises and white daisies. She put his flattened basketball in with him. She sent me a photo of his body. I can tell he is under the English hawthorn. He looks warm, his brindle fur coppery. Thank you guys. I just have one more poem, it's pretty short. It's called Interior Diorama, and it's based on the work of Kim Kiever, who's a visual artist. He constructs these dioramas in like 100, 200 gallon tanks, and then they're really beautiful. The detail is exquisite. And then he fills them with water, and he gels these lights, and he drops in pigments. And so everything looks both real, like hyper real, and then hyper surreal. They're beautiful. If anyone's a fan of Joanna Newsom, he did the album artwork for her last record. Interior Diorama, after Kim Kiever. I replicate magazines piled on a cast iron radiator, old wool hats tacked on the wall. My living room is still full of waxy-leaved houseplants, clay pots with cacti. Grander, I grow a mountain in place of gingham couch. I paint its peaks Alice blue and a little green. The miniature apartment is so icy. Its people will need extra sweaters, fleece blankets, tiny knit things. For an improved sense of direction, I add bright flags, charting the terrain between kitchen and bedroom. I assemble bells, but they are so small, they are silent. Anymore, I don't know where to find swans, and so I make them. The roots of their soft white plumage dipped in motor oil for the proper sheen, a yellow laurel bead above their pitch bills. Outside the window, a cow continues to graze, long lashes, sweet head to the ground. When I pump cream into coffee, I think of this cow, how it chews its cud for hours, how it keeps chewing, and a swan wanders up the mountain. Thank you.
Thank you, Maggie. I'm going to say this without crying, hopefully, but I'm happy you're here and we're with you. And I failed.
Yeah, we really love that this is such a special space for all of us to connect with each other, and we're really, really happy you shared that with us today. I say this every single month, but I am blown away by every single reader we get to come up here, and I'm blown away by everybody who shares the open mic, and this just gets better and better every single month, and we couldn't be more proud. So we really hope that you come and join us for our 1 year next month on the 17th
Yes.
of June. Everybody that was reading here today and everybody that's read in the past year is invited to come back and share with us. And we're really, really excited and really, really proud of.
It's going to be like a marathon reading, so
Yeah.
we're hopefully going to get everyone back, you know.
But yeah, people do so much over the summer, so we're grateful for everyone that's gonna join us or is here today even. And just a couple of plugs. If you want more poetry this week, we've got at the Terrazas branch, I'm hosting oral literature featuring 2 former ice cream socialists, Blakely Pate and Taya. Can you say her last name?
Nice guy.
Yes, thank you.
She's back there.
Yeah, she is here. As well as one of our reoccurring Malvern book readers who I always beg to read for open mics, Grant Cross. He's floating around here somewhere as well. And Taylor Jacob Pate, who is also a Malvernian. So please come and hang out with us. Austin Public Library. If you don't know where it is, I will pin it on your phone for you. But that's Wednesday at 7 p.m. And so I'm going to be sweating and on the clock, and it's going to be great. So
We're going to mail out some more ice cream. Feel free to hang out, check out the books, talk to us, talk to the readers, and thank you so much for coming.
yay!